Hello and welcome to the channel. It is me, Chris Brooks. The UK will never surrender powers to the WHO, says Minister. Esther McVey made the remarks ahead of the government's preparing to vote on the WHO's pandemic agreement and amendments to the international health regulations. The Conservative government would never sign away sovereignty to the World Health Organization, the WHO, or allow it to force the UK into imposing national responses to pandemics, a cabinet minister has said. Minister without portfolio Esther McVey wrote in the Telegraph on Saturday that it remains the constitutional right of nations to make their own decisions on how to respond to the national health emergencies, and said that ceding sovereignty is a red line for her and her cabinet colleagues. She said that while she knew that Britons might be concerned the international bodies could acquire powers to force countries to adopt measures and restrictions, she said, "My ministerial colleagues and I would never give over such powers to any organisation, including the World Health Organization. Our red lines in the negotiations include not agreeing to anything that cedes sovereignty, protecting our ability to make all of our own domestic decisions on national public health measures, including whether to introduce any lockdowns or restrictions, required vaccinations and mask wearing, and decisions on travel into and out of the country," Ms McVey wrote. There's an election looming, isn't there? Is my first line of thought. Miss McVey made the remarks as the British government and other countries negotiate the WHO's pandemic agreement and discuss draft amendments to the existing international health regulations. Both texts are subject to agreement with the 77th World Assembly in Geneva, Switzerland, between May 27th and the 1st of June. 77, where have I heard that? The 77th Brigade. The Cabinet Minister said that the UK's continued engagement with the WHO's pandemic agreement and amended that IHR is to ensure that the UK has access to global information about emerging crises. It would not mean that we forfeit our independent national response to the next pandemic, Ms McVey said, continuing, "With our red lines for negotiations, we will only sign the pandemic accord and strengthened international health regulations if it is in our national interest to do so." On Friday, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman, who served as Attorney General during the COVID-19 pandemic, issued a note of caution, writing for the Telegraph that we must maintain a healthy scepticism of the WHO's proposed pandemic treaty to ensure that our government has the freedom to depart from its advice in the future. Oh, so there. That again is from the Epoch Times. I will leave the link in the description. Yes, it is a paid for publication, but you can get a 7-day free trial and then you can just cancel the free trial. It only takes an email, I believe. Obviously, I've paid to be able to read these things to you.
Last week, during a speech in the plenary session of the Interparliamentary Union Assembly, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus blamed conspiracy theories and a litany of lies being spread about the pandemic agreement, even by members of parliament and in some cases by heads of government, for presenting possible barriers to the measures being passed next month.
The pandemic agreement will not give World Health Organization any power to dictate policy to any country,
Tedros said on March 25th. He then cited Article 24, Paragraph 3 of the negotiating text of the agreement, which says that
nothing in the agreement shall be interpreted as providing any World Health Organization official the authority to direct, order, alter or otherwise prescribe the domestic laws or policies of any party, or to mandate or otherwise impose any requirements that parties take specific actions, including travel bans, vaccine mandates, or lockdowns.
Mr. Tedros had repeated similar criticisms on February 12th, where also he described the international agreement as a legally binding pact, and instead said the pandemic agreement was an exercise in national sovereignty.
Far from ceding sovereignty, The agreement actually affirms national sovereignty and national responsibility in its foundational principles.
Mr. Tedros said, adding,
Indeed, the agreement is itself an exercise of sovereignty.
Yeah, what do you think? Let me know what you think in the comments. Nothing to worry about, folks. Nothing to worry about. Well, enjoy your first day back at work. I hope you have a good one. Weather looks hit and miss as usual for our lovely British weather, but until next time, look after yourselves and I will speak to you again soon. Bye for now.